Hello and welcome.
And there's the what's it called, the thumbnail for the video right there. That's
Yep.
what it is.
Hello and welcome to The Gathering, a magic podcast. My name's Stanley, and I'm here with some of my best friends to talk to you about our favorite game, Magic the Gathering. Honestly, don't remember what I usually say next. Probably talk about what's going to be on the episode. Nick, Julianne, and I made a spectacularly interesting decision to drive 18 hours door to door to go participate in Spotlight Indy. So we'll talk about that and other things modern. And then afterwards, we will talk about Final Fantasy a bunch. Mostly because our very own Nick Odenheimer is going to be playing in his first Pro Tour, and that will be Pro Tour Final Fantasy, where Limited will be there, of course, drafting, and then Standard will be the constructed format. So we'll be looking at Final Fantasy through that lens for the most part. Before we dig into that, a word from our sponsor, FlexSlot. Flexslot.gg, great place to make your deck list, great place to make your sideboard guides. It's something I've been using for a long time, both as a player and a content creator. It's easy to use, easy to, use as a thinking board to work through your plans for each matchup. It's very easy to print out, take to your tournament with you. And if you're on the content creator side, then it's a very easy thing to just share. It's a URL, it stays up to date, and so, anytime you change a card or two, anyone who has that link is going to see all of your changes in real time. So, very convenient way to get yourself organized and ready to sideboard accurately throughout those long tournaments where mental fatigue can really take a toll in the late rounds, and it's easy to make weird decisions. And if you have a sideboard guide, either your own or someone else's, then it's a lot easier to continue to play in sideboard well through the late hours of a tournament. So thanks, FlexLot. Love the platform. And speaking of being tired at tournaments, that was kind of a crazy decision. We left my house at 6 a.m., which means Nick and Julianne probably, you guys left your house at 5:30?
5:15, 5:30.
Yep.
Woke up at 5.
And we rolled into our hotel in Indianapolis at midnight. So that was a choice. That was a choice that we made. But I don't think any of us regret it. We had a good time. We stopped at Buc-ee's, 5 times?
5
5
times.
out of 6 possible Buc-ee stops.
Yep.
Nice.
3 on the way up.
Shout out Buc-ee's breakfast. Really, really OP. We were driving. We earned a lot of unks in the first section of the drive in order to make sure we could. Juliette really wanted to try Buc-ee's breakfast, so I was obeying the law. And
Loosely.
mostly.
I'm somewhat doubtful.
The moral of the story is we got Buc-ee's breakfast, and it was good. It was good. I don't know what else happened on the way there. Somebody not me talk.
I got my new cast iron pan.
Yeah.
Taking over, I saw the sign for the Lodge factory store, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And I got a really good cast iron pan for really cheap, so that was very exciting. Already used it to cook up some bacon, so seasoned it well.
Excellent. Nick, ride up. Notes?
I don't know if I have any notes, honestly. I mean, I was just the passenger the whole time, so I was just trying to keep the lads awake while they drove. Chattanooga was not an impressive city. Sorry in advance if you live there, but we made it a point to stop in Chattanooga for something, and was not impressed by what Chattanooga had to offer. More impressed by the Smiths Grove, Kentucky Buc-ee's than I was than Chattanooga as a city. So.
I liked Pittsburgh right by Chattanooga, which had the cast iron store. I
thought Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't think that's right near Chattanooga. But yeah, South Pittsburgh. Yeah.
No, I like that little area, and we did. You did help me figure out some of my plans. I was like, how do I beat Storm? What's up with that deck? How do I beat this deck? So much modern has happened since then. It's hard for me to remember how little I knew at that point. But there were a lot of decks where I had no idea what was going on in the deck, and I was like, how do I beat this deck?
I think most of your nerves were surrounding Storm and Neobrand, which you played against 0 times, if I'm correct.
I did play against it 0 times.
Titan 5, so you're an expert Amulet Titan opponent, right?
I am. I definitely have that. I have that deck figured out. But
there you go.
Yeah. So that's a smooth transition into. Well, I want to talk about Friday first. Friday was actually like pretty cool. Talk about the sealed event you guys did.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a casual Magic player, so it takes a lot for Julianne to drag me to do anything that is not like an RCQ or some kind of comp REL event. But we played the 2-headed giant Dragonstorm sealed event. But the kicker with this event was because it was Spotlight Secret Lair, I think is what they were calling it. In addition to the 12 packs of Dragonstorm you got, like for each player, you also got a random secret lair, and you could use said secret lair in your limited pool. And I would say ours was pretty ridiculous, because I forget who...
God of Slaughter.
Yeah, I forget who opened which, but one of us opened the Comic Sans secret lair, which had Mogus God of Slaughter, Doomblade, and Torment of Hellfire as the notables, which Torment is like a $40 card apparently, so got our value there. But also because 2-headed giant, those 2 cards say each opponent, which makes it a lot better in that format. I think we killed someone for Torment of Hellfire X equals 8 at one point for each person, so it was really 16, which was pretty insane. And then the other one we got was the Dragon Lord Secret Lair, which has one of each of the original Dragon Lords from Dragons of Tarkir, I'm pretty sure, which is really insane in a deck where Dragons is a huge synergy, obviously. So I played Abzan, Julianne played Mardu, and we both splashed colors in order to play all the Dragon Lords in our decks. Ended up being a super great decision because Jermoka carried us in 2 of our matches, and then Salumgar carried us in the other. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Do you have any comments besides that I missed?
I was going to say it helped that I think we had 12 of the dual tap lands, and I think we had 4 red white, 3 red blue, so I was Mardu splashing blue, so our mana base was kind of very easy to figure out because Nick just handed me a pile of these tap lands and said, here, these are all in your colors, just play all of them. And then I just added 6 basics on top of that, and that was it.
I think Julianne said at one point, is this too many? I was like, 9? Nah, it's a perfect number. so yeah, we certainly had a lot in our deck. And then after that, we played Mystery Booster Sealed, which is apparently a very popular format among casual players. But I've never experienced a Mystery Booster 2 Sealed before. It was pretty interesting. I think I was a little let down because I sat to the left of someone who opened a foil extended art Urza, which is apparently $300, and then I sat to the right of someone who opened a extended art Soul Ring, which is apparently $150. And the person across from me opened a extended art Thassa's Oracle. And I'm over here with the coolest card I have is a retro border Collected Company or something. I'm like, all right, well, this is definitely not worth $75 compared to what these people got. But it was definitely a nice change of pace. But we ended up getting a bunch of what do they call them? Play points? Not
Tickets.
play points. Tickets. Yeah, we got a bunch of tickets. So we got whatever our hearts desired after that.
One of the best things they had at the prize wall were packs of boxes of Dragon Shield sleeves. So we just used all of our ticks on sleeves.
True.
And they should keep that at the prize wall if anyone's listening. 'Cause that was great.
Julian, you beat Jim Davis during that event, right?
I did. I played against him round 3. And it was kind of funny because during the deck building portion, he was sitting all the way at the end. And he opened an Oracle of the Alpha, which is the card that conjures the power 9. So that card is pretty crazy. So like word spread that he had opened it during deck building. He only cast it against me once, but when he did, it was a little too late because I was playing kind of like a Gruul aggro, just beat down, and he was playing more of a slow Esper big dudes, so he just died before the big dudes came into play.
We love that.
And I'll be honest, I don't even remember what you did on Friday. So I want you to remind me because
Me?
Yeah,
Dude.
I have no idea. I completely forget.
I mean, we took my car, so I drove a lot on Friday, so I was really tired. After breakfast, I went back to the room, took a nap. I got the baby at home too, so I took a nap, sauntered over to the stadium, stopped by... the stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium was on the way, so took a picture with Peyton Manning, sent it over to my dad, was like, it's Peyton statue, so that was really cool. His, peak was when I was growing up, so I was a huge Peyton Manning fan, so I actually was, pretty excited to be like, whoa, that's a nice statue. Grabbed a slice of pizza, sauntered over to the place. I've never been jealous of a sealed event, but the Secret Lair sealed sounded sick. I was like, maybe I should have done a Secret Lair sealed event today. I did the win a big card event because I didn't want to do a re-CQ because I have the one modern qualification and the chances of me using a second one are so low. So I did not win a big card. I have Tamio from another event, but I did not win a big card. I got 300 ticks, so I opened 3 packs of MH3. The first one was a banger, though. I got the Flooded Strand and the foil Sink into Stupor with my first pack. And then I got an Orum's Chant in one of the other packs. So actually, my MH3 packs were bangers. And that was it. We all went got pizza together, before your Secret Lair, your Mystery Booster 2 event. But I was still in my big card event because even after you lose, you can keep playing. But each round, the winner gets 100 ticks. So I went, got dropped because I missed round 3 or 4 or whatever. And then I came back and I was like, can you please undrop me? And they undropped me so I could play the last round. And then we almost decided to leave again. And I was like, oh my God, we were looking at the botanical gardens and the zoo and the baseball game. We were considering just leaving instead of doing Mystery Booster 2 and continuing to play. So I almost undropped myself just to drop again. But we decided to stay. I played the last round. I don't remember what happened in any of my rounds, but I think I went 3-1. And got 3 packs of MH3.
There you go.
Yeah, not a bad day.
I always enjoy the days before the big event because it feels like everyone is just doing their own thing. So we got some guys sleeping in the hotel room still. We got others who are grinding LCQs or re-CQs starting at 9 a.m. So it's a nice mix to hear what everyone's up to.
Yeah. I was glad that you guys went to that sealed Secret Lair double-headed whatever thing.
Yeah.
That worked out well. Then there's the main event. I wrote a very detailed tournament report. It's free on my Patreon. go check it out there if you want to know everything that happened during my tournament. I would say the highlights are one, played against Titan 3 freaking times on day one. That really like sent me. But somehow I beat it all 3 times, which is kind of crazy because Titan has always been Prowess's worst matchup, and it hasn't gotten any better over the years. If anything, it's gotten worse, just because like Titan feels a lot stronger now than it did before with all the different ways it can win. But I distinctly remember I almost quoted Nick in a tweet after round 4, because I was 2-2 and I was like, never mind. And Nick and Julianne are both like, what? So they bullied me into. I was like, it was after the meta breakdown had come out, and Prowess was the second most played deck, and I was just sitting there thinking like, this does not feel anywhere near second most played deck power level. Like I said something to the effect of, I feel like I must be doing something fundamentally wrong when I'm playing this deck, because it just like feels like everyone is doing something more powerful than me. And of course I'm 2-2 at this point. I went 3-1 the day before, but like if you're not undefeated, you suck, right? That's the mindset during the main event. And what Nick said is, well, Prowess is like Energy, where you have like the flat matchup spread, but like instead of being slightly favored in every matchup like Energy is, you're just slightly unfavored in every matchup. And I was like, it's actually super accurate. Like I think I drafted a tweet but ended up not saying it because I couldn't get it like eloquent enough, but that was really accurate for how I was feeling at the time. And then I proceeded to win 4 matches in a row, and Nick made fun of me at some point for saying that earlier. But I still think that what Nick said was an accurate statement, and that what I said was an accurate statement. And I just like, I like playing it. It's fun, but it feels like every match. It felt like every match was a bit of an uphill battle. I did not feel like I was doing the most broken thing in the room. At the end of that 4-win streak, I played against the fella who eventually won the tournament with his Fleshraker and Broodscale combo deck. So it's round 9. I'm 6-2. I'm like, shit. Maybe I know how to play Modern. Guy plays an Eldrazi land. He wins the die roll, plays an Eldrazi land, and I'm like, nice. My life total doesn't matter. Fetch, shock, just get my steam vents in play like a DRC or something. And then turn 2, he goes, Fleshraker. What's the actual name of the card?
Glaring Fleshraker.
Glaring Fleshraker. And I'm like, oh, interesting. What's that? Never seen that before. So I pick it up and read it, and it's like, every time you cast a colorless spell, make a 0/1 spawn, and then whenever a colorless...
He still doesn't know what it does.
Yeah, I don't know what it does. Someone say what it
does.
No,
you were doing good. I just find it funny. You're like trying to recite it from your memory still.
And then like whenever an Eldrazi enters, deal 1 to your opponent.
I think it's colorless creature.
Colorless creature.
Yeah.
Okay. So I read the card and I go, oh, maybe my life total matters a little. And then I do something uninteresting on turn 2, and then on turn 3 he goes, Fleshraker trigger, deal 30 to you to do this, trigger, deal 6 to you, deal this, trigger, deal 8 to you, and I was like, oh, so I'm dead. Like, I just died out of nowhere. And game 2 was pretty similar. I was just like, I don't know what any of your cards do. I think I have one more turn where I'm allowed to cast spells before I'll just die. I did not have one more turn before I was going to just die. I just died. And then my day 2 was pretty uninteresting. I think I went like 3-3 or something. Found 2 more Titan players because that's my specialty. But ultimately, like, 18 lands was horrible. It was so horrible. I'll never register 18 lands again. Since then, I've been playing a lot of Jeskai Prowess with 20 lands. It's been spectacular. Having lands to cast your spells, amazing. spinning your wheels on the first few turns to try and find lands, horrible. The negative tempo, everything about it is I just hate it. That lost me so many games. I've never once at a tournament gone, it's fine, my deck is just bad. But like round 15, which ended up not mattering, like win or lose, I was gonna get the foil promo. Maybe I would have cashed, but of course I was playing against Titan again and like didn't find my land drops, and my opponent was like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." I was like, "It's fine, my deck is just bad." Like, never said that at a tournament before, but like, it just is. And the other thing, oh yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I just can imagine you saying that at a tournament. Like you're playing against your opponent and they're just like really they feel bad. Like, oh, sorry, Mr. Landrock. He's like, oh, it's fine. My deck just sucks. Like I can imagine you saying that. It's just funny picturing that at like an RCQ or something.
It like that's what happened. Like after game one, he was like, "Yes." I'm like, "It's fine." Like my deck's like I was so I knew my deck so well by the end of 15 rounds. We've talked about on the way home, and we've talked about a lot like. These RCs and spotlights are just such amazing, like testing. Like I feel so many things and I know so many things about my 75 by the end of these events, and I think we all do. And part of the magic or like the code to crack is like, all right, how do we get that quality of testing in before the major event instead of just like at the major event? But yeah, that was terrible. I really wanted to play 20 lands. And then I, continued to feel like, I was doing the least broken thing in the room. It felt stupid to be like, okay, I'm not playing an overpowered combo deck. I'm playing like a mediocre combo deck. And I'm not playing Flage. I'm just playing like fair cards. Like Corey Stillcutter's pretty good. So, long story short, since then... I've been playing a 20 land prowess deck with 4 Flages, 2 in the main, 2 in the side. Got Arena of Glory, like play the broken cards, play enough lands to cast your spells. And I've been, doing great online, actually having fun playing Modern. There's 4 pending, so I can interact with my opponent, which is really exciting to not just like watch my opponent kill me. I can interact with them. It's great. My man Brad won an RCQ with the Jeskai build. Really proud and excited for Brad. That was his first time winning a Modern RCQ, getting the updates in Discord as he was like, "Oh, I made top 8. I'm going to like semis." So that was really fun. So really excited for Brad. Another couple people like pinged me with Moto trophies. So the new build cooks. It's really good. It's everything that I wished my initial build had been. Maybe there's a universe where if we decided more than 3 days before the spotlight to go, maybe I could have got to something closer to that build. Playing Moto for a few weeks and could have done a little better than 99th the spotlight, but considering prep time and all that stuff, yeah, I got my foil promo, so I feel decent enough, and I learned enough to make a good deck that some people are getting trophies and winning RCQs, so it was not for naught. Anyway, that was my main event.
I don't know how much of an effect I realistically had on the deck, but I do remember either it was like during the 2-2 rant or like day 2 when you were actually doing good. I think the phrase I used that I held true ever since the card came out was, if a deck can play Flage, it probably should play Flage, and I still think that's true. And prowess, when you have so many DRC surveil triggers and you just fill in your graveyard constantly, like you can play Flage, and so you probably should play Flage. Like I've played plenty of bad decks, like Mono Red Phoenix and even Hollow One, and I was testing Flage in the deck, and just Flage continuously just carried because those type of decks can play Flage, and so they probably should.
So yeah. Your years of Flage propaganda definitely influenced my take of like, if they're not doing a dumb combo or playing Flage, why am I playing Modern? I'm also influenced by like, my opponent like arena'd in Flage again, and now I'm gonna die. To be fair, I twice my opponent arena'd in Flage, and I still killed them. And I actually One time my opponent goes arena from hand, and I'm like, oh, of course you had the arena. Not like that loud, but like under my breath. They probably like smelled my frustration. And I was like, Fledge is on the stack or whatever, and I was trying to think if I wanted to do anything interesting. And I was like, oh no. My opponent's actually dead on board. I shouldn't have been complaining. Like, since they were tapped out, I had like a dart, mutagenic, slick-shot in hand, and I think I had Quarry Steel on the board and another dart in the yard, and I was like, oh, this is 18 damage. I should not be complaining that my opponent is tapping out to gain 6 life and go to checks notes 18. I did have a good time. I had won more matches than I lost. Like, the deck was fun to play, but like the weaknesses of the deck were just so glaring to me in a way that has like never really happened at a tournament, which is why by the end I was like, it's fine, my deck sucks. Like, you don't have to feel bad for me that I like lost that game to bad draws. I chose this deck, it's fine. There were definitely a couple games that I lost to, like, or matches that I lost really to like not playing much Modern. The Fleshraker guy for sure, I was like, Fleshraker looks like an interesting card. Oh, I'm dead. And I'm embarrassed, and I didn't include this in the write-up, and I'm not going to share the details, but I misplayed against Energy at one point, and that's how I dropped one of my matches against Energy. I went 2-2 against Energy on the tournament, and it was a dumb thing, but like, I'm an aggro player. I want to progress my game plan so badly. But there was an obvious spot where I should have interacted instead of progressing my game plan. But I thought, how bad could it be if I let their creature live for one turn? Pretty bad. Nick's making the face of like, yep, I played Energy. I know. I can imagine. But the good news is, like you said, I mean, Flage fits perfectly in prowess. 5-0 against Energy. It's literally just like, oh, I'm the better Flage deck, so you're going to have a really hard time winning. I surveil more cards, I have more card draw, I have more card selection. Every time I play against Energy, I feel super favored now. I'm essentially playing like just got control, but with more win conditions.
You have to play 2025 Tarmogoyf. It's the best creature in Modern. So, this is how it is.
Is that Flage?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I thought about putting Flage and Jeskai Affinity. I was like, I mean, everyone plays these Stony Silences, and I already have Jeskai guards in here, so I just put 4 Flage in the sideboard and pivot.
I mean, I played against Jeskai Ascendancy, and I won 2-1. You know how I lost game 2? Flage. I got Flage game 2. So I lost. Won the other 2 games because of Monstrous Rage. Shout out Monstrous Rage. Very much a modern playable Magic card. One of the best cards all weekend. All right, somebody kick Jacob out of this room. I'm changing your nickname back to the Sheep.
The Sheep.
Monstrous
the wolf
Rage.
in sheep's clothes.
Monstrous Rage. I played against Titan 5 times. You know what Monstrous Rage does? It tramples over a Boreal Grazer. You know what doesn't do that? Violent Urge or any other card in the stock deck. And it also tramples over like construct tokens and all kinds of other fun stuff. So, Monstrous Rage was one of the best cards in the deck. Trample is really great in Modern. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. Let's pivot to the Energy Children.
Well, as I like to put it, I think I did objectively very well for, last second deciding to go to the tournament and not really playing much Modern or specifically Energy leading up to the tournament. I kind of just decided it was the best deck and put it together and played it. For the event, ended up 10-5, 45th. But while I did objectively very well, I think I did subjectively awful. I started 8-1. I was 8-1 going into day 2. I
Too good.
won my. What was that?
Too good. 8-1
Yeah,
is
too
too
good.
good.
We always talk about how 8-1 and 9-0 are like too good a record because you go in like you go a little too overconfident. Like 7-2, that's like the sweet spot. 6-3, you're like you have a bad record, you're dead for top 8. Like you don't want to be 6-3, but 7-2 is the sweet spot. 8-1, not a good record. I even won my first match on day 2, so it could be 9-1. I think the fatigue really just started to hit me in day 2. I ended up 3-0ing my first opponent in day 2 because I literally just didn't write down combat damage that I dealt that turn, so I thought their life total was way higher. And nothing on them. I mean, they're not obligated to tell me what their life total is. So I just didn't I thought they were 4 higher than they were, so I could have killed them with Goblin Bombardment, but instead I killed their creatures and they killed me on the crackback. So very unfortunate way to start the day, but then I ended up winning games 2 and 3 after that. So that was nice, I guess. Yeah, then the wheels just fell off. I played against Blue-White Affinity. It was a really close 3 games, but game 3 they drew their 3rd Urza Saga, which was too many Urza Sagas for me to deal with. If I won less Urza Saga or I drew a Flage a turn earlier, I think I could still win that game, but 3rd Urza Saga is just too many. And then I think the biggest misplays came in the round after that. I think it's round 11 at that point because I'm 9-2, and I just made some really bad plays against Orzhov Ketramos. Oh, my cat is eating my quartz. All right. So I think I just made some really, really bad plays against Orzhov Ketramos. Some things that were obvious that I should know better about, but also I think would have been way more apparent if I played, any amount of games with Boros Energy before the event. Nothing really to say there. Then I played 2 mirrors. I won my first mirror, lost my second mirror. I don't think the mirror match is particularly interesting. I always say it's my worst matchup just because I feel like it's not skill dependent whatsoever. It's really just who draws Flage first, who has the answer to Flage first, who Johnny Bombardment's first. I don't think the matchup is remotely interesting. It's just who does their thing first and better.
Reminds me of standard prowess mirrors.
Yep. And then I lost to another Orzhov Ketramos in the last round. So ended up going 2 and 4 day 2 to land me at 10 and 5. I had the run to potentially at least top 8 again, and I let myself down. But it is what it is. Still, I had 2 on-camera feature matches day 1, which was obviously very, very cool. I won my first one, lost my second one to Corey Burkhart, which if I'm going to lose to anybody, at least I'm losing to him. And then I had a really funny off-camera feature match where I was the second table over, where I was still able to be on camera. But
So
the
before Nick tells this story, he goes to me. He's like, "Don't watch my future match. It's just gonna upset you."
Yeah, exactly. Because I was the second table, so I was eligible for being a feature match, but I think it was dependent on if the first table actually finishes first. So this ended up getting recorded, which I thought maybe it was, but it wasn't. But I'm super dead to prowess. I'm at 6 life. They beat me down. They have 2 monks and a Swiss spear in play. They're at 13. And all I have in play is Guided Souls and a fetch land. I'm well, all right, I'll fetch. Let's see if I, hit the Flage. And of course, shuffle my deck for this my opponent, lose top card, and I tell him, guess I'm better at the game. And I just put a Flage in my graveyard. And he's very nice. And then I kill my opponent. And then, that was pretty hilarious.
Did you have Arena of Glory as well?
Oh, yeah, I had Arena, so I just killed them. They were at 13 exactly. And I was Flage, shoot you for 3, attack, shoot you for 3, hit you with my Guide and Flage, and exactly 13 to you.
They always have it.
So that was, classic, no skill, only luck, whatever. I had a second moment in day 2 where if I did hit the Flage, I would have won, and I would have been 11 and 3, but I did not hit the Flage that time, so rip. But yeah, I mean, I think that was really all there is to say. I think my biggest regret, honestly, isn't even the fact I didn't top 8 for the sake of going to the Atlanta, but for the sake that I feel like the takeaway from everyone after this tournament was, Boros Energy is cooked. Like, Boros Energy sucks. I feel like that was everyone's takeaway just because it didn't top 8. But, like, I'm almost regret I didn't do better because I feel like that's not the case at all. And I feel like after the tournament, my opinion on Boros Energy has not changed. I think Boros Energy is far and away the best thing you'd be doing in Modern. I played multiple actual bad matchups throughout the tournament, and I still just crushed through them. If you have any Modern tournament, the only thing I would recommend if you want to win is Boros Energy. I just think the deck is doing or Jeskai Prowess, I guess, but definitely Boros Energy close second. But it truly is, I think, the only. It's far and away the best choice for any tournament. It's just doing such a powerful thing. It has such great answers to the combo decks that are your bad matchups. And yeah, I think my only regret is that I didn't prove that more, I guess, because, I truly think that's the case. And I feel like all of my losses were either me being bad or just very, very close, down to margins matches. So yeah. TLDR, I personally did bad, but objectively I did very well. Can't be too upset about, 3 days before the tournament deciding to drive up, getting some of my expenses back and then getting the foil promo. So
context is everything. We
yes.
People, we drove from Philly or wherever. It's like, we drove too. Oh, where from? Tampa? Where?
I think my favorite part was I was in the feature match against Corey Burkhart, and he asked me, "So where are you coming from?" And I was like, "Oh, Florida." He's like, "Oh, Florida. Like how long's the flight?" I was like, "Oh, 15-hour drive." And then I hear Julianne. She's like watching our feature match. She pipes. She's like, "It's actually 18." I'm like, "Oh, she's right there to correct me right there on the feature match." But that was funny.
Julianne, you want to talk about Saturday or Sunday at the Indianapolis Express?
I mean, Saturday I did not good. I feel like I played against no meta decks. I think I played against the Mirror round 5. I went 1-4, so that was pretty terrible. But the closest meta deck besides the Mirror was probably colorless Tron Eldrazi, which is like a weird build of Eldrazi. They also severely misplayed against me. So I don't know, but I agree that energy is one of the best things that you can be doing in Modern right now. I mean, all of the rounds that I lost, I at least got a game against them. It was just I either needed to top deck a land and I drew another 3-mana spell, or I needed to do the opposite and I drew 10 lands in a row. And I played against some weird off-meta decks that I wasn't expecting, so matchup lottery was not on my side. And then I forget what I did Sunday, I'll be honest.
What did you do Sunday?
I think I did a sealed event, but I actually don't remember. I might have done that Saturday night and not done anything Sunday, but it was fun.
No, I think you did the sealed event because you were debating between whether you're going to do a re-CQ or a sealed event, and then I convinced you to do the sealed because if you lost the first round of the re-CQ, it would have been sad, but then if no matter how you do in the sealed, I think you would have had fun. So I think that was the decider.
Yeah. That sounds familiar. I guess I did a sealed event.
It was a long weekend.
It's almost like you were tired after all that driving.
Yeah.
And grinding away, and that's.
Don't ask me anymore because I obviously don't remember. But I had fun. I would 100% do it again. Coming home, Nick asked me. He was like, "So Baltimore?" And I was like, "Yeah, Baltimore. Let's go. We're making plans."
I'm not driving that far again. No way. That was a decision right there. There was a dog poop emergency, not even an hour or so after we left. So.
Yeah, for a second we might have to turn around. So
we almost had to turn around, but we got Julianne's sister, Ron's younger daughter, to come help my wife clean up the dog's big accident all over the living room. Nick Amazon primed a baby play mat over to the house same day, so that it was a whole thing. It was really looking like we might be just turning around, but the Rice family came through. Ron came over after work to help as well. So we did.
Yeah, because it's always such a chore to sit and play with the baby. I mean, oh man, it's such a strain on me to do that. I just,
Well, you should come over work and babysit more often then. Anytime you want to, go through that, you just shoot me a text. You could probably come over. And that baby loves to be held. She does not want to be put down. So anyone wants to take a holding shift. That's not an open invitation to the world, by the way. I'm just mostly talking to Ron.
Her grip's getting good enough now. She gets a pretty good yank on some of the beard now. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I had to clean it up. I was getting attacked. So yeah, that was Spotlight Indy. It was a last minute decision that we had a good time. And yeah, before we wrap up all the modern speak, Jacob the sheep, he's played a little modern since the last time we all got together.
Yeah, I watched day one of the Spotlight, and I was like, oh, is this Domain Zoo good again? Like, this deck good again? I was like, okay, I found a list from day one that did well. I played a league, went 4-1, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll play this in an RCQ. So I played an RCQ on Sunday. I top forward with it, and I played in a couple more leagues with it. I mean, it just does things. I also can just turn my brain off, which is super nice. Like, I put a Leyline on turn 0, play a Rag of Honor, a Wild Nakata on turn 1, play a Scion on turn 2. Most decks can't beat it, and guess what? I get to play 4 Flage, so the deck's great. And Fable Mirror Breaker is also a great card. So, and then also I get to play. I've been on like a 2-1 split main deck of Stubborn Denial and a Consign to Memory, with 3 Consigns and 2 more Stubborn Denials on the sideboard. I mean, that's open for interpretation. You can consign your own Flage triggers to make it better. And then also it's just good. I got somebody in round 5. I was playing against Neoform, where they went to go replicate their own Consign to Memory to stop both their pack triggers, and I just consigned their replicate, and then they lost the game to their second pack trigger. So that was super cool. Yeah, deck's cool.
You can consign replicate?
Apparently. Mengu or someone posted a screenshot of them doing that. Apparently, replicate is kind of like Storm.
It's sweet.
Yeah, so it turns out, 4 Flage, some Fables, playing good cards is good. Who'd have thunk it?
Turns out Flage with haste, first strike, and vigilance is also really good.
Who'd have thunk it? Lifelink too, right?
Well, I'm thinking if I don't have a Leyline in play, because I'm not that lucky, but if you have a Scion, it gets first strike and lifelink, or first strike and vigilance, and then you get haste from Arena of Glory. So,
okay, yeah, pretty nutty stuff. Put good cards in your deck, especially in your prowess deck. Yeah, for sure. Ron, any modern news?
Played an RCQ last weekend, and no red cards in my deck.
Next.
Yeah, it wasn't so odd.
What did you do? Why would you do that?
I wanted to play something different just to see. I'm trying to expand, grow,
What did you play?
And I played Demir Murktide.
Do you feel like you grew?
No, I ended up one. What was it? 1-4-1.
Oh my god! I knew the draw was coming as soon as
Yep.
as
Yep.
soon as you started going. I was like, "There's
Yep. It
a
was
non-zero
1-4-1.
number of unintentional draws coming."
Was it?
Yeah.
And I think it was against the 12-year-old black-white catcher most player, right?
Yeah. I don't know how old he was, but he was definitely young. Yeah. And it was like we're the last ones to finish. We go to turns.
What were your
It's
records
like-
at this point?
Mine at that point would have been 1-1.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
ready
so
for
it was-
the
'cause
we
it
were
was
both
round
1 and
3.
4.
No,
We were just holding up top
I won the first round, lost the second round, both to Demir Oculus. I was really surprised because the room was full of Demir. I mean, Julianne and Nick were there. It was full of Demir players.
Yeah, never
And
been to
then-
an RCQ yet where Demir Murktide was the most played deck. It's been the second or third most played deck a couple times, but there were actual like 6 or 7 in the room out of like 38 people, and I think
Yeah.
it was crazy.
And so then drew, and then proceeded to lose the last 3 rounds. And yeah,
I say Ron started with the 1-0 start in the mirror, and I was like, oh man, like maybe Ron's making a run for it. He's gonna win RSQ with
Rain
Demir
Man
Murktide,
moment. Ron's never touched a non-aggro deck, and then he's gonna play Demir Frog in Modern.
well, it was sort of a snap decision because I don't know that I would have the time off to go to one of these RCs even if I did win. So, it's kind of like do something different. And I had been visiting a friend and didn't have any decks with me, and he's like, "You want to play a little bit?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I grabbed his girlfriend's deck. It happened to be Demir Murktide.
Why are you using
Played,
generic terms? Just say Mike and Hannah. What is this?
Well, because I don't know if they want their names thrown out all over the world.
Yeah, they're fine. They
All right,
have
well-
enough social media presence.
So I played Hannah's deck against Mike, and actually it went pretty good. I mean, I was at least 50-60% win rate against Storm, Belcher, some mono black thing he was playing. So it wasn't like a whole bunch of meta decks, but so I said, "What the heck? I'll try it."
Did you have fun?
I did. You've
Excellent.
met me, right? I'm always having fun.
Excellent.
If I'm playing Magic, it's fun.
5 stars.
I also had the pleasure of playing a Mike deck at this RCQ, and for the second time I've played a Mike deck at an RCQ, I have strongly regretted it. I don't know if I can play Modern again without Boros Energy in my hands, if I'm being honest. I still went 4-2 at this RCQ, which obviously isn't a bad record, but I had such a miserable time. I literally don't know if I can register a deck without the card Guide of Souls in it. Look at
Oh
art.
no,
Like,
Mr.
it's art.
Spotlight. Oh no, I can't enjoy playing Magic unless there's red
Nope.
cards in my deck. Oh my
Reds.
god.
The deck is base
I
white.
keep
What do you
winning.
mean?
Oh my
What do you
god.
mean? Oh,
You gotta play Jeskai Prowess, Nick. You gotta win one. of
I
Jeskai
would register
Prowess.
Jeskai Prowess, but I might have to add some Guide of Souls into it.
Oh no!
Turn 1 Guide of Souls, turn 2 DRC.
You'll
Static
for the
Prison
guy who
Surveil.
choose the losers bracket if you do that.
Oh,
Okay,
Got
honestly,
'em.
no cap. I bet I could top 8 a modern RCQ with 4 Guide of Souls, 4 DRC on my deck.
So I top aided with Hollowvine. So yeah, I bet you could.
I almost won an RCQ with Hollow
I know, but I don't know how to play the deck.
That deck is
I
so
had-
good.
I
That
had
deck is
never-
also art.
I had never
That deck is
read
also art.
Hollow. I had never read the Vine card. What's
The
the Vine
Vine.
card called?
Vengevine. That's one of my
Vengevine.
favorite cards.
See,
I
don't
love
even
him.
remember what
He is so
Vengevine is
cool.
called. And at one point, it was in my graveyard, and it was one of your signed ones. And I was like, I don't know how to get this card back. I don't know how to put it in play. I had to get text on my own card. It was like the time where I was at a modern RCQ like years ago. I think I was living in Seattle, and I had to borrow Path to Exile from Luke, and he gave me textless Path to Exiles, and I was in the finals. And I went, Judge, I need Oracle text on my own card. It doesn't have text on it. Like,
I've been there.
why does this happen to me twice? Why does it always happen in Modern? Say the nickel thing.
If I had a nickel for every time I'd ask a judge for the text on my Magic card, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. It's 2 versions.
Alright. Well, to be honest, Modern's pretty cool. I'm like a certified historical Modern hater. But I guess it was the last bands that kind of like feel like they balanced the format. So I don't know. I'm having a pretty good time playing Modern, especially now that my deck has enough lands in it. I was really starting to lose it with the 18 lands in Prowess. But final notes, Modern's pretty cool. I'm actually having a really good time now that I'm playing like a deck with enough lands, a deck with interaction, a deck with some of the broken cards. Like, I don't feel like I'm always playing from behind. So, yeah, I didn't expect to make any sideboard guides for a Modern deck, but I am going to put a Just Guy Prowess sideboard guide on Patreon this week. Because Modern's pretty cool. I don't know how much longer Modern season goes on, but I hope I get to play a paper event or two. I don't go to that many because of, life responsibilities, like a bebe. But I hope I can sneak out for one. I hope we have one that's like close-ish. And I can find Flages and play Just Guy Prowess in paper. Because it's a cool deck. And with that, Final Fantasy, I guess, released on Arena today and Moto today. Apparently, that's a thing. I gotta be honest. I don't care at all. I don't care about the IP. I find almost none of the cards interesting. This is, like, the least compelled I've felt about a set in a long time. Like, Aether Drift, at least River Pyroverge was there, and I was like, yeah, is it Prowess? And everyone was like, you're an idiot. But then, a set later, everyone was playing Is it Prowess, so who was the idiot? But, like, there's no River Pyroverge in this set. I literally, like, man, I'm, like, looking at Mythic Spoiler, I feel nothing. I feel literally nothing. But Nick's going to the Pro Tour, so he doesn't have the option to feel nothing.
I was literally talking to my friend at the RCQ. He was like, oh, like, do you like Standard? Because I told him, like, oh, all I'm doing is playing Standard right now instead of playing this Modern RCQ. He was like, oh, do you like Standard? I was like, it doesn't matter if I like Standard. I'm going to the Pro Tour, so I have to play Standard. I have to enjoy it at least a little bit.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I, like, want to cast Self-Destruct on Screaming Nemesis. That's about the only thing that I really want to do with Final Fantasy cards. Self-Destruct is red and a colorless, so it's a 2-mana instant. Target creature you control deals X damage to any other target, and X damage to itself, where X is its power. So it's kind of like a fling effect, like Callous Sellsword, except it's an instant. Which is pretty cool because you can do it in response to removal. You can do it with Rock Curse Rakshasa with the like Decayed trigger on the stack. And you can do cool stuff with, as I said, I want to do it with Nemesis because you deal 3 to something, and then when Nemesis deals 3 to itself, Nemesis triggers itself, so you get to do another 3. If you get cute and combo that with Monstrous Rage, now you deal 6 damage and then 6 damage again. Which is pretty cool, but obviously just a meme. So, Jacob was like rattling off some Final Fantasy cards before this thing started. Apparently, he's making a PowerPoint. Nick is obviously forced to care, so I'm just gonna turn the microphone over and chime in as needed.
I mean, I was making a PowerPoint for Limited to kind of help Nick out, but because the Pro Tour is partially limited in the draft format, six of the 16 rounds, right? Or Yeah.
Yep, 6 of 16. First 3 are draft, last 5 are standard, and then same format for the next day.
I would like to say I grossly what's the right word?
Misevaluated
the card VV very hard. After watching Nick play a lot of, as much as he could on the early release,
access,
the early access, I was like, this card might be a little bit good.
So VV, by the way, is a 3-mana legendary wizard. It costs a red, a blue, and a colorless. This card is very, very expensive. If someone has the latest numbers on it, pull it up. This card is incredibly expensive. It's a 0/3, which, by the way, I played precisely 1 match on Arena today, and I had precisely 1 VV in my deck, and I drew it twice, and I was playing against Golgari, so they cast Cut Down on it both times I played it. So that was really fun. I was like, oh, nice. 3 mana, it dies to 1 mana removal. That was really cool. In any case, 3 mana, 0/3, legendary, is it wizard. It has ability that says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on VV, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it's got that same text as Questing Druid. Every non-creature... No, that's not Questing Druid text. But in any case, every non-creature spell puts a counter on it and pings your opponent for 1. And then the really big deal, which leads to some like really disgusting lines, is it's got an activated ability for 0 mana. So a completely free activated ability that says, add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is VV's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. So you can do it instant speed on your turn, but you can't do it on your opponent's turn, once per turn. This gets pretty nasty if VV survives a turn cycle. It gets nasty if you cast Monstrous Rage. I'll let Nick talk about it more because he's the one casting it. But with Stock Up and Storm Chaser's Talon in your deck, it can the upside is very, very high. You guys continue. I just really wanted to read the card for everyone since we're on the podcast.
Yeah, I have been playing a little bit with VV. I think that the Cauldron combo decks are going to be like the best home for the card because, I think the early access was definitely a situation where you play against these other bad decks, so then when your VV lives, it obviously looks absolutely broken. But then after we did some more focused playtesting in-house against decks like Orzhov Pixie and even Is It Prowess, you realize that the card is not really living a turn cycle, and so then when you have to wait till turn 4 to play it and then it can still die of this hard removal, the card gets a significant amount worse. I still think the times where you can play a VV, Monstrous Rage it, and then pop off, it's still very powerful, and we even had a game where VV won when no other card would have against Jessica Oculus, for instance. So the card is very interesting and it does powerful things with prowess, but at the same time, I think, like Stanley said, you're kind of asking to lose if you cast a 3-mana card and hope it survives Cut Down and Nowhere to Run in this format. It's just asking for a lot, especially in prowess mirrors when you're in a cast that's just going to get Flood Mod. It's not the most reliable plan.
When VV got cut down the second time, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
I plan on testing it a little bit still. There's more time before the deck submission, but not very high on it as of right now. But I am keeping an eye out for these Cauldron decks because obviously if the problem with the card is that it has to live, then who cares if it goes to your graveyard when you're just going to activate Cauldron, exile it, and then give all of your creatures the text of make mana. As I've said to a couple of people now, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Like, if these Cauldron decks look absolutely broken, then yeah, there's a world I actually decide to register it. There was a list I was watching. Doomwake played today. Funny enough that he was playing a list where it basically takes the Is It Prowess shell, but adds in Cauldron, VV, and a couple more discard draw cantrips, And I thought that was very interesting because the problem with combo decks is that if you go too all in on the combo, then it's like one hate piece and you just lose the game. But if you're playing a deck that already has, 4 talents, 4 cutters, and then you're still just playing an aggro deck half the time, and then the other half the time you're killing with the combo, I think that's mildly interesting. So I think that's where I'd want to start. But yeah, TLDR, don't want to be on the wrong side of history here, so if the VV combo deck is busted, I could definitely see myself playing it, but as of right now, I'm just focused on limited testing and going from there. I agree with the other takes too, that I've never played Final Fantasy, so the set generally does not interest me whatsoever. I don't think any of the cards are particularly interesting besides VV and then some random stuff, like Sephiroth for Eternal formats. That's really it. I mean, I don't really care about what's going on. I think my favorite card from this set is Lindblom. Funny enough, I really enjoy my utility lands, and so being able to play a tap mountain that is sometimes a lot better than a tap mountain is like kind of cool. So when your favorite card is a land, it definitely says a lot.
And it's not a rare, right? It's got to be like a common or an uncommon.
No, Lindbloms are rare.
Oh, the adventure lands are rares. That's
Yeah,
crazy. They're what?
They're
towns? Is town the
They're
type?
towns. Yeah, they're towns.
I think we need to talk about the most important thing that happened with Final Fantasy, which is the Saga rule change.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say the most interesting part of Final Fantasy is the change to sagas, which I'm glad they did it because the implication was that you're bringing into effect all these new saga creatures, and if someone just Tidebinders Chapter 1 and loses all abilities, it just dies, which is a really unintuitive gameplay. So they changed it so that sagas do not die when they lose all abilities. But now, because of that fact, Ursa Saga also does not die when it loses all abilities. But in addition to not dying, it keeps all of the abilities that it's gained, specifically the Make a Construct ability. And so because of that, when there's a Blood Moon in play, it generates Construct still, which is kind of ridiculous. Because we went from Blood Moon and Harbinger of the Seas being the best counters to Urza Saga, to now these cards are combos with Urza Saga, which I think is absolutely disgusting. So we'll have to see how...
I like to take that, hopefully now Saga is finally going to be powerful enough to just get banned.
Yeah.
I would love that. One of the classic memes is like, Titan has been so overpowered and it survived this meta, that meta.
Titan has been tier 0-1 in formats such as Hogak.
It survived the drama with the judge that Fire Shoes went Scorched Earth on. It survived this. It survived like it's just such a meme. And a Saga ban would be a nice little hit to Titan. Having played against 5 of them the other weekend. I mean, I went 3-2. I shouldn't be so salty, but man, playing against that deck is just brutal. So, I would honestly love to see a Saga ban. Obviously, we're not there. I don't know if we're gonna get there, but yeah, the Saga change is crazy. I hope Saga.
I don't
gets
think
banned.
it'll happen unless every deck's playing it. To be completely honest with you. Like,
Right,
unless
start registering Saga and winning events, so they ban it.
You're asking way too much of me, dude.
Urza Saga, Boros Energy.
I did see some, like, cool lists where it was like, Merfolk might make a resurgence because you can play 4 Harbingers, and you can play 4 Urza Saga, and then you can play 4 Vials, and then you can play an Urza Saga package, which you can also get Vial off Urza Saga, and then you just put Saga on 2, and then you Harbinger your own Saga. That way you always have a threat, which is cool. I know it's going to be a lot more impactful in Eternal formats that are past Modern, so Legacy and Vintage, especially with like Mono Red Prison already abusing Urza Saga and Legacy. Now you just get to play a Blood Moon on turn 1, and now you or turn 2, and you always have a threat in play. And Vintage, it's restricted, so it doesn't really matter. But other than that, I don't know if it's necessarily just going to cause the card to eat a ban in Modern. Unless, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways, like, Amulet Titan does not have a high enough win rate for me to think that it's going to eat a ban. The only way that I really like, unless Wizards like ban and restricted team, the people who look at bans legitimately look at it and say, well, this deck is unfun to play against. We're gonna ban something out of it. I don't think they're gonna ban anything out of it. Which I mean that's just how it is. That's their ban philosophy. They're like they either ban. I mean, I think
it's an OG, not an unk.
If they don't ban it, I think at this point, like, you should give us back Blazing Shoal. You should give us back all the Storm cards that are banned, right? Because you don't care if like these combo decks are unfun to play against. Like, that's my opinion on it.
All right, before we digress too much into modern ban talk, let's try to rein it back into Final Fantasy and generally speaking. Yeah. Everyone hates Titan besides Jacob. That's okay. But
we're also not big
Final Fantasy
fans,
that
unfortunately.
I just keep like asking like, oh, is there like I was at pre-release and I was like, oh, is there any like the games that I should play that would make me care more? And some people are like, that's a rabbit hole I don't think you want to go down. And I was like, okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Me and Julianne both had similar stories where we show up to the Final Fantasy pre-release because she's playing the sealed PTQ in Vegas, and obviously I'm doing Final Fantasy Limited for the Pro Tour. So we decided, let's get some exposure in paper with these new cards. And we both play against people who, were just making casual conversation, like, oh, do you like Final Fantasy? Like, oh yeah, I love Final Fantasy, it's my life. And they're like, oh, do you like Final Fantasy? I'm like, nah, I've never even touched the games before. And they look visibly offended by the fact that I've never, like, played Final Fantasy before. And they're like, then, like, literally I had one person go, what games do you play? I'm like, Magic Gathering for starters. That takes a lot of my time. But yeah, it's just funny because this pre-release really has, like, brought out so many people to come play Magic that have never, touched a Magic card before. Julianne had someone who's played an hour of Arena before the pre-release, and that was their first exposure just because they love Final Fantasy so much. It's like, oh, I get to try out Final Fantasy this other game? Like, that's so cool. But I just can't... I say I can't imagine it, but I mean, I can think of some franchises where if they partnered with Magic, I probably would be all over it, But while I don't like Universes Beyond, I think it is good that we're growing the game or whatever. That people are coming to these events.
I wanted to add on. While I don't care at all about this set, and I don't care about Final Fantasy, I'm not like against it. I think it's cool that people like it and enjoy it, and I'm not like, ooh, Final Fantasy is lame. I'm just like saying it as like, not gonna lie to you guys. Don't care about this set. Don't care about the IP. The cards are, like, not that interesting. Someone was like, oh, Lightning looks so good. Boros Energy is going to be a fast deck now. You're going to Arena Lightning and people die out of nowhere. And, yeah, I don't think that's the thing either. They power prepped Colossal Dreadnought so hard. Balam T. Rexar. It's Colossal Dreadnought. Except when it enters, you gain 3 life, and it has Forest Cycling for 2. Honestly, if I was going to the Pro Tour, I would draft Mono Green. I would take every Balam T. Rexar that came my way. I would just be Mono Green, RIP, Colossal Dreadmaw. Colossal Dreadmaw, by the way, 6 mana, 6/6 trample. The greenest of the green cards. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, Final Fantasy.
Julian's
I
got
don't-
something. She always does.
Oh, go ahead, Julian.
I was just going to say, I saw a lot of people say kind of the same experience that Nick and I had at our pre-release, where I'm sure more than half the room were kind of newer Magic players or players that maybe played Magic over a decade ago and stopped and then got brought back because of this like Final Fantasy Universes Beyond. And I just hope that WotC doesn't screw it up, because if we're seeing anything, we're seeing that there is a large influx of players that are very interested in the game, and I think that over the next course of like this, over the course of the next 6 months, is going to be like a true test to the like WotC and the company to keep these players to continue playing Magic that isn't just like with Final Fantasy cards. And I hope that it helps game stores and their like weekly events, and in general, like it does all the right things that they're trying to do by getting this like large Universes Beyond collaboration.
Do you like any of the cards?
No. I mean,
Same.
I had fun at pre-release, but like you, and you know, all of us, and kind of what Nick said, like, I have never played Final Fantasy. I didn't even know Final Fantasy was a thing until Magic announced that this was going to be a set, and then I started like looking into it. I had one of my opponents picked up one of the Through the Ages cards, and they looked at the art and they were like, wow, this art is so pretty. And I looked at it and I was like, it's a rock. Like, I didn't feel anything.
It's not a boulder. It's a rock.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, the art treatment with like Lightning Bolt has some other random name, and it's like a screenshot from that art treatment looked so bad in spoilers, and I thought, oh well, the cards will probably look okay in real life. And then someone posted on Discord like, oh, I opened the new Lightning Bolt, and I was like, how does this look even worse in real life now? Like, I thought the spoiler images were just low res, but it looks worse in real life. Rod's gonna go
I
find
think
one.
some of them are cool, and I understand, you know, like if you play the game to pick up like a physical copy of a piece of art that is from like a key scene or something like that, that's great. I don't have any emotional attachment to the key scenes. I don't know who's bad. I don't know who's good.
The basic lands look pretty good.
I've got some emotional attachment. You gonna explain to me why we changed the flavor text of Dark Confidant? Greatness at any cost. One of the greatest, if not top 5 flavor texts of all time. And we change it to what? Fare you well, bringer of light? What is that? Who cares about that? Alright? Alright? That's the only card I'm excited about. It's probably unplayable. Maybe in Pioneer. Dead format anyways. Doesn't matter. Right? But also, like, we changed the flavor text? What about Bob Maher? Like, he designed the card. What are we doing?
You know what I think about that treatment? So most of the Magic cards that don't look like Magic cards, which that feels like it's trying to be a Magic card that doesn't look like a Magic card, most of them, the text also doesn't look like a Magic card. But what's so disoriented is that like the placement of the text is the same as Magic cards, but there's no text box. Like, those cards look so weird and disorienting to me.
I saw.
Oh my
I
god!
saw a
Ugh.
post
I'm looking at the
'cause
spoilers now. This is horrible.
Channel Fireball is they're doing their limited like ratings and stuff, like Reed Duke and LSV, and I saw a tweet and it was, Sephiroth the Savior is a game changer, and if you can play it in limited, then you should. And I was like, Sephiroth, what is that? And then I looked and was like, that's a Traxa. That's not Sephiroth, that's just a Traxa. Like, it's just a renamed thing. So
You will never guess what this card is by the art. And since it's flipped, you can't really guess. This is Carpet of Flowers. Legacy All-Star Carpet of Flowers. I like, first of all,
Wait.
they put
Counterspell.
They put these cards with the commons and uncommons, so I didn't even know I opened one until, like, some dude next to me is like, "Oh, like, do you mind if I look through your commons and uncommons?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely. I didn't see anything in there that I care about." And he's like, "Oh, dude, you opened a carpet of flowers." I was like, "What?" I was like, "That got reprinted in the set? That's standard legal?" And he's like, "No, it's whatever. It's a, special
guest
or whatever." And I was like, "That's cool, but it's like Foul Sea Paradise." I was like, "Oh man, I guess I have a second carpet of flowers now," but I just didn't know. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, as someone who is testing limited for Pro Tour Final Fantasy, I cannot tell you how much I hate the bonus sheet. Like, I already had the opinion that limited was high variance because it's just, who opens the better bombs, right? But they just pumped that up to 11 because now you have people who can open, Ragavan, Lightning Bolt, Dark Ritual, and then they're truly ahead of the game there because then you're straight up losing these random cards you have a 0.46% chance of even opening in the first place. So I'm looking at some of these arts, how am I going to memorize what these cards are? I'm glad they're at least reprints, because my god, I don't know what half of these things are. I just learned that Cryptic Command is a card you can open. I had no idea you could open Cryptic Command. Actual no clue.
There are also so many of them.
There are. There's
Like,
And
5,
these
10,
cards
15.
have so much text. I'm looking at Mythic Spoiler, and every card has a paragraph.
63.
Funny pre-release story.
I can't imagine trying to prepare for
My
Pro
round 2
Tour
opponent
Limited Final
opened
Fantasy. There's too
is
many
playing
words.
Green Red Ramp, and the special guest card he had was, I don't know what it's called. I'm trying to look at what the new name is, but he had a Primeval Titan. And he had the Fire Crystal, which, if you don't know, it says creatures you control have haste. All your red spells cost 1 less. But for 6 mana, 4 red, you can tap it and make a copy of a creature you control. And he
just played Amulet Titan.
and he was just making copies of Primeval Titan and attacking me with them, which I was playing Mardu Aristocrats. I had a Sephiroth in my pool. I had good, cards in my deck. And I was able to nudge out a victory in that game. But I'm like, there's no he plays this card, and I was like, what is that? Because it literally looks like Atlas holding the world, and he's like, oh, it's Primeval Titan. I was like,
It's Primeval Titan.
What? I was like, what is happening? I was like, I already hate when this card gets cast against me in general, but now it has to happen in Limited in 2025. At least make a core set again where I can actually cast it in Standard, not in Limited.
One of my how long ago did Strixhaven come out?
It's 2021, I think.
Was it that recent? I need to look it up. But Strixhaven came out, and at this time, I was not playing any constructed. Yeah, 2021. Nick, correct as usual. I wasn't playing any constructed. I hadn't played constructed in ages. I was just grinding arena drafts. I fully completed the Ikoria set. Every pack I opened was just gems. I was just a drafter. That's all I did. I was just a casual, just drafted. And this reminds me, because of bonus sheets, I didn't have a Discord account. I didn't do any of this stuff. But I had a Reddit account, and I posted my first meme on Reddit. And it was the old guy with the thumbs up or something like that. And it was Strixhaven is a fair and balanced limited format. And then the guy's like, huh, time warp. and it kind of went viral. That was my first post that went viral, was some dumb Strixhaven limited time warp meme. But bonus sheets and limited, 0 stars. Hate that.
And now it's normal. I remember Strixhaven, they tried it out almost, and then the next time they did it, I think, was March of the Machines, I'm pretty sure, and then that's the set where it became the new normal.
I hate that.
Ever since
I
then,
hated
it's
it
been...
in Strixhaven. Obviously, I made it.
I remember I played a limited draft with Strixhaven when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I Dark Ritual the 4-drop on turn 2, and I was like, oh, this seems like good stuff right here.
Well, Everybody wish Nick good luck during his Pro Tour drafts. Let's hope he opens all the bombs, and hope whomever is passing to him opens 2 bombs, so that then he's got 6 bombs, and they're all on color, and then he wins. No problem. Have fish. Have win.
The only positive thing I want to say about Final Fantasy is, as a Magic boomer, I will say that the reason I don't like these Universes Beyond sets, I think, is because they kind of take you out of the immersion of like in-universe Magic the Gathering. But I said it with Lord of the Rings. I didn't say it with D&D because it was like D&D was basically in-universe. But I said it with Lord of the Rings, and it's like, I don't think these sets take you out of the immersion of Magic. Like, I still see these cards, and while like I don't care what any of the characters are, like who they are, doesn't matter to me. But at least like the art and the general vibe, like it still feels Magic the Gathering to me, and I appreciate that. But I don't know how they're gonna manage that when fucking effing Spider-Man comes out. I have no idea how they're gonna manage that, but I do appreciate that, these cards still feel like they're in the vibe of Magic, and that's why I didn't really care when like Lord of the Rings came out and when D&D came out, because like they fit the vibe. SpongeBob doesn't fit the vibe. It just doesn't. Marvel Spider-Man, it probably will not fit the vibe.
Bring me playsets of Spider-Man.
This set feels to
Final
me...
Fantasy is like on the edge. It's on the cusp, but it fits the vibe.
For the most part, it feels like Aether Drift to me. Just because, like, I don't really care that much what's on the card. Or the art on the card, or the name of the card. Like, I have a soft spot for, monks, but other than that, like, I really just care about what the card does. If there were, like, banger, is it Gruul, or, like, mono red cards, I'd be a lot more excited, but is it in mono red or mega OP right now, so I'm definitely not, like, wishing that we got more cards for those. I don't think those archetypes need a boost right now. They're already kind of on the chopping block anyway, so I'm not disappointed in the set. I just like don't care, and I'm okay with that. Especially since we're getting 6 sets this year. Like, having a set that I give 0 cares about, super fine. Just like 100% fine with that.
I'm gonna kind of little touch on Nick's point, because Nick's, I think, been playing like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years longer than I have. And the Magic boomer and me, or whatever, me playing for so long, is just these Universes Beyond sets make me feel like we're starting to move away from something that I appreciate about Magic's identity, which is like the storyline. And like I remember like opening, there used to be blocks, and you'd go through the block and you'd like read the story, and you could see the story throughout the cards, and then now I just like don't know what's going on anymore. I know I can go on like Wizards website and read the story, but like someone like me who
War
like
of the
reads a
Spark
lot...
was so cool on that front. I was playing Magic when War of the Spark came out. I'm really glad I was playing Magic when War of the Spark came out. That was cool.
It makes me feel like they're trying really hard to put less into the story as possible by putting other IPs in, which is fine, but don't neglect the story. I think that's my only thing for Wizards. It's just like, don't neglect the story, because that's something that I really appreciate about the game. It's not going to cause me to play the game less, but
Yeah,
also,
I mean,
let's not have a repeat of Lord of the Rings, where it's fine that you're printing them as standard legal sets, but don't make it so there's cards in the sets that warp the format. Like, you really have to use Lord of the Rings as like, that was like that and D&D were like the building blocks, and I think D&D was fine. I think time will tell what Final Fantasy does. I don't see anything warping the format, but if something comes out of this set that's like, okay, this was too powerful for a standard power level, you have to take that with a grain of salt, and it has to be in every meeting going forward with any Universes Beyond that you're going to push into standard. And then Lord of the Rings has to be... Yeah, the Modern Horizons 3 Nadu thing sent me over the edge.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, it's just a commander set, and their like only thing that's concerning is that maybe VV, the commander card, is going to be the next Nadu. Like, like Nick was saying, there's the Cauldron decks. There could be other, combo cookers. Like, look out for Sanctum. Who knows what they're going to build? But I would not be shocked if there's some insane broken VV deck out there, or more than one. Like, VV definitely, free mana is a scary thing. Wizards knows, they've said it, but like they've said it somewhere. Like, we know they know. Free spells is a very messed up mechanic. And VV is just like free spells, but like with one hoop to jump through. But basically, if you can jump through the hoop, you get free spells, which is pretty scary. Like, as a fair Magic player, Nick and I are looking at it in prowess, going like, well, yeah, sometimes you just kill your opponent from nowhere. Like, sometimes VV is just like Omega broken, but on average, it's this like flimsy thing that kind of dies before we do the thing, because we're like trying to play it in a fair deck. But VV, without a doubt, could possibly be a Nadu, but Nadu was a commander card. So again, literally, like, Final Fantasy is a commander set. So
it's not even right now either. It's like legitimately, like, in the future they could print something that puts the card over the edge, kind of thing. Where it's like that's where it's that's where it comes in, where you have to really look at it as a game designer and be like, okay, because it's like the Cold Snap cards that you exile 2 cards to cast it. Wizards like, this is a free spell with downside, and then Neoform got printed, and everyone's like, wait, Allosaurus Rider can just put a Grizzlebrand into play on turn 2 with no downside, right? So that's like, I mean, I don't think they're looking that far in the past, but at least in Standard, you have to be able to look at the rest of the cards that you've printed prior to and be like, okay, I cannot print this card because this card will actively make this card broken. I remember, what was it? Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. They just printed Splinter Twin into Standard and Limited because Saheeli Rai was printed in Kaladesh, and then they printed Feldar Guardian, right? That's what it's called, or Feldar. And it was just Splinter Twin, and you could draft it. You could draft Splinter Twin in Limited because it was block draft. You draft both Aether Revolt and Kaladesh when Aether Revolt came out. And I was like, and I remember playing that Standard format, and the best deck was just Jeskai Saheeli Rai, 4-color Saheeli Rai, 5-color Saheeli Rai. It's like, I have a turn 4, I win the game, with also, the best creature, Torrential Gearhulk. So, don't do that.
I think...
Well, if you're watching, don't do that.
I was just going to say real quick, as the Gen Z Magic player, well, because I'm the newest one to the game. I mean, when it comes to the Magic playing, I'm definitely not Gen Z, guys. But I was just going to say, I've been playing a couple years. I caught the videos when they would do the new releases for the stuff that was, in universe and everything. And I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's cool that they're, I guess, talking about a TV series or something like that, I guess, is supposed to be moving forward. I think it's weird that they have an IP that a lot of people would probably get on board with, and they seem to kind of be running away from it, and that does seem weird.
I miss core sets. Every core set, I would be like, is the new Chandra going to be constructed playable? Can I put it in my F&M deck of draft commons? No.
Jillian, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna circle back on Jacob's point about how game designers now have a lot to think about not printing cards, and I feel like they've just kind of keep making their job harder because Standard just keeps getting more and more cards. The Standard rotation is longer. Now there's 6 Standard sets a year. Universes Beyond used to not be Standard legal. Now they are Standard legal, and there's a bunch of them. So I think with the Final Fantasy set and just like the rest of 2025, I think it's like a real testing point to the strengths and weaknesses of this like mishmash of Universes Beyond sets and Magic in Universes sets and 6 standard sets coming out a year, and we have like foundations and then standard rotation being as long as it is. So there's just a lot of things that I feel like could be tipping points to either like greatness or failure. And I am rooting for greatness, and I just hope that like WotC kind of also sees that or senses that, and if it ever is falling towards failure, they push it back to greatness.
Greatness at any cost.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is 9,999 like an inside joke with Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
What's the joke? Is it funny?
Somebody explained it on Twitter. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, okay. All right.
I would like to preface it that nobody on this podcast is by any means wanting to downplay anyone's love for the Final Fantasy IP. We're glad that people like it. I mean, I know like Nick and I are like massive Star Wars fans, MCU fans, all that stuff, right? So like, if someone on another podcast, if they do like a Star Wars IP or the Spider-Man IP comes out and they're like, well, I honestly didn't care about this because I'm not a big, Spider-Man guy, not a big Star Wars guy, right? Or girl or they, them or whatever, just like, I'm not going to take it to heart. Don't think that we're like, Final Fantasy sucks. We hate that it's in Magic now. No point. It's just not. There's too many games for me to like be like, oh, I can't even like quantify wanting to like try and catch up on with all the like other stuff that I'm already nerded out on. I was watching Lorecraft War videos like 3 days ago, and I'm not even caught up on that yet with the new expansion that came out 6 months ago. So I can't play Final Fantasy right now.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
To Jacob's point, it's just not for us. But I've heard good things I've heard great things about the game. I'm sure if I was, just like a little bit video game nerdier growing up and maybe like 5 years older, maybe I would be in a different position and would have actually gotten some time like in front of the game. But yeah, we're here for the Magic. The Final Fantasy part is just not for us.
Yeah, and I think we've sprinkled that kind of throughout the time we've talked about it. Like, we don't care, but that's fine. If the cards were good, we'd care. That's the big thing. But I was just going to say, I think the 9,999 cards are so funny. Jumbo Cactar getting the plus 9999, and then the new Murder as minus 9999. I think those are hilarious. So I was like doing the opposite of dogging on Final Fantasy. I'm really curious what the 9999 joke is. Because the cards make me laugh, so maybe that's like the maximum amount of damage that you can deal in an attack or something like that.
I saw a thing, I guess MTGO only goes down to minus 99, so that's something to keep in mind too.
That I did know back from my Boros Reckoner Obosh Infinite combo deck, where you give Boros Reckoner indestructible, and then you, like, your Boros Reckoner takes damage, and then you just target Boros Reckoner with its own ability, and so the damage doubles every time if you have Obosh on board. So I played that on Moto a few times and was like, alright, gonna deal 500,000 damage to my opponent, and it just goes to, like, negative 15, and I'm like, oh, it's like mod 100 or whatever. So that was super sad for me. But I'm trying to find the name of the new Murder that says negative 9999999.
Overkill,
that's it. I like Overkill and the Cactus. I doubt either one's gonna see play, but I think it would be really funny if it did. I want to attack with the
Overkill is very
cactus.
good and limited.
Oh yeah. Overkill is really good and limited. I want to attack with the cactus and use self-destruct.
I need to clear the record too, Julianne. You may have played a Final Fantasy game, because my original, where I will now qualify as not Gen Z, my original black and white Game Boy, I have a copy of Final Fantasy Legend. So I'm sure at some point in my life I played it. I don't remember it, but I know I have the game. So I'm sure that you probably played it, because I know for a while you and your sister were jamming out on the old Game Boy.
If I did, I also don't remember anything.
Alrighty. Well, we blew right past the 90-minute mark, jabbing about Modern, talking about Final Fantasy. Any Final Fantasy cards we didn't mention that you guys wanted to talk about?
I threw a Joshua in to replace my Blood Moon in my energy deck just to see.
Yeah, Joshua does seem good in energy.
Is that the 3/4?
Now, yeah, it's the 3
Yeah.
and a 3/4. What is it? When it enters, you may discard up to 2, then draw 2, or is it discard?
Yeah, it's discard 2, draw 2, and then it
Flips
also
into something good.
it flips into something I don't remember offhand. I'd have to find
I'm
it.
pulling
But
it up. We're a podcast,
I got one
guys. People are
pre-release,
driving
and
their
it
cars.
is now living in my energy deck, and we'll see if I get a chance to cast it.
It's a 1 white and a red 3/4 legendary creature. That's a wizard. That makes sense. And then you can discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. And then for 3 white and a red, you can exile and then return to the battlefield transformed. But you can only do it as a sorcery. And the flip side says it's a 4/4 flying lifelink enchantment creature. It says when it deals 2 damage to each opponent on the first and second lore trigger, and then it says return any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Phoenix and then return it to the battlefield. Which Phoenix is what it flips into. Phoenix, Warden of Fire. So I definitely thought like in energy you can get back like
2
multiple.
Flages.
Yeah, you could get back 2 Flages. It'd be pretty cool, but like I don't know, 3 Guide of Souls, 3 Ocelot Pride, something like that. Multiple Ajani's, like double Ajani trigger flip. One of the Ajani's would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just gonna take you a century to get there, right? Because this guy costs 3 mana, the flip costs 5 mana. So like the earliest you're flipping him is turn 5, and then he's chapter 1 on turn 5. Chapter 2 on turn 6. So the absolute earliest, if you hit your first 5 land drops, he doesn't die on sight, is turn 7 that you're doing the thing. It does have a lot of powerful text on it. Seems pretty slow. Just got
I think
Oculus.
the idea
seems...
is it's just a 3 mana Season Pyromancer that helps you get to Flage quicker, has a way better stat line than Season Pyromancer, and then in games that do go longer, if you're given the opportunity to flip this just ends a board stall against like the Mirror or even something like Dimir Murktide. Like you do get into those board stall situations in the Mirror a lot when someone doesn't draw a Flage or have the cards in graveyard to animate a Flage. Like you do get into board stall situations, and this card helps very well to end those. Like it's definitely better than Spyro, I think, for those situations. It's probably a little worse than Fable for those situations, but just another card that Julianne left.
She gone.
Just another card that helps.
And I mean,
helps facilitate the gameplay.
The Phoenix has lifelink, so it's really drain 2 on chapter 1 and 2. It's a cool card. Honestly, the argument of it, like, versus Spyro, though, like, I think about Tursa. I don't know if energy players consider Tursa at all, but, like, Joshua's ETB text is the same as Tursa's, so, I don't know.
4 health, I think, is very relevant in Modern, like, extremely relevant.
Oh, I guess Lightning Bolt's in that format, huh?
Yeah, Lightning Bolt, Galvanic Discharge, even just, like, the stat line when people are attacking into you.
Yeah.
I think the extra health is very relevant, and I think the upside compared to Tursa is honestly better here. I mean, Tursa, you really don't have 7 cards in your graveyard very often because when you do, you're just escaping your Flage. So I think this card is definitely better than Tursa in what energy is doing. Some people have said it's just like a straight upgrade to Fable, which I don't think is like true. I'm bad at evaluating cards though by just looking at them. I mean, I have to play with it, but it definitely seems interesting. I like the idea of playing it at least over Blood Moon. Blood Moon is now unplayable in energy, so
It's certainly interesting compared to Spyro, but Spyro always draws you cards. That's that text that keeps Spyro kicking, you know. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it'll be really good in Jeskai Oculus, right? I mean, we were just talking about it's definitely better than Tursa. My bringing up Tursa was like, how much better than Tursa is it? But it's definitely better than Tursa, right? Jeskai Oculus has got to be playing this over at least some number of Tursa.
yeah. Again, the 4 health stat line is honestly huge. Like, it doesn't die to Torch, doesn't die to
Nowhere to run.
a Braid.
Braid.
The flipping is relevant with how late the game goes with that deck. I think it's definitely an easy slot in for that deck over Tursa.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, how much better it makes Oculus. Like, I think it's a strict upgrade to Tursa in that deck, but it's like doing such a similar thing to Tursa that I don't think it really shifts the power level of the deck very much. But
I will say it does help Boros Monument in Standard a lot, especially since you're losing, what's it called? Phyrexian Dragon Engine, or whatever it's called. The 3-mana 2/2 that's got Unearth. So, that the fact that you can get, like, double Monument back, like, late in the game, from your graveyard is like super relevant for that deck. So I don't know if there's any other formats that want to play this card besides maybe Modern and Standard, but it definitely seems it was a card that I saw and I liked what I was saying.
So probably the best card in the set for Constructed, other than Vivi, which we
I would say it's
fear is
Fire
broken.
Magic for every format, because the fact that it's Electrickery without, like, kicked without being Electrickery, and then also it's Vampire's Vengeance, it's easier to pay for. I think, like, the paying 6 mana to anger the gods is terrible, but the fact that you actually have Electrickery for 1 mana is insane.
I think the card has very good applications for Modern, but I don't think it's good in Standard. Because the thing about Modern is the 1 damage is relevant, whereas in Standard, 1 damage is not relevant, you know? So, like, in Standard, it's effectively just a 3-mana Pyroclasm, instant speed, but essentially a 3-mana Pyroclasm, whereas in Modern, like, the fact it can be Electrickery or it can be Pyroclasm, depending on what you need, I think is very good. But not sold on, like, I'm not sold on being great in every format, but I think it's definitely very powerful tool to fight Boros energy.
Yeah, I mean the text definitely looks relevant against Boros Energy.
I think
Okay, look at that.
Summon Knights of the Round is another card that we should be looking out for. So it says 8 mana, 6 double white enchantment creature that the first 4 parts of the saga say create 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens. It's a 3 mana. It's a 3/3 indestructible. That's its base stats for 8 mana. So when it enters play, you make 11 power, and then you're going to make 6 more power for 3 more turns afterwards. And its 5th chapter ability says other creatures you control get +1/+2 until end of turn. Put an indestructible counter on each creature you control. The reason why I think this card is relevant is because Omniscience has been kind of like looking for a way in Standard to have like a pivot creature. Which they have the big dragon, the Meringue River Regent, which is like closes out games super quick. Sometimes it just beats you to death with Overlord of the Mistmores, the White Overlord. But this is a card you could just get back with Abuelos, and like okay, now you have 9 power in play off rip because it's going to come back as a 1/1, but it's also a 1/1 that's indestructible, and every turn you're going to make 3 2/2s. In Pioneer, you have Enigmatic Incarnation, which you can just get this card off a White Overlord. In Modern, if you really wanted a Neoform for this card, you can do that. I don't know about any other format besides that, but those are the 3 formats that I'm thinking that this card is playable in.
All right, so if you stuck with us this long, we do think a few Final Fantasy cards are playable. Cool. Well, as always, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe. This always feels like the part where I want to make bad jokes, but I don't have any good bad jokes in the chamber right now. So have a good life. We'll see you at the next episode. Outro music.
Yep, the next episode will be when I either say I have a call on the next Pro Tour or I'm not. So.
All right, everybody wish Nick a big good luck. Good luck, Nick.
Good luck, Nick.
Ron and Julia don't want to say good luck.
Good luck, Nick.
He's gonna hear it from me for like
Yeah,
a
I mean,
bajillion.
We're trying to
They're
close
actually-
the podcast, guys. We're doing a
Okay,
thing.
good luck, Nick.
Good luck, Nick.
Outro
Good luck, Nick.
music.
Good luck.
I'll try to.
Da, 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 da.